It's interesting how sometimes when we look at others, we might see things that seem unattainable, or even as if they're so far ahead of us, and yet in that very moment something happens, doesn't it? That subtle shift, like a gentle breeze passing by, that makes you think, what about me? What about all that I am, and all that I've done? And isn't it fascinating how your mind can take these moments, these reflections, and create stories, even beliefs, about how you're not good enough, or how you're somehow lacking. And yet, if you pause just long enough, you might notice those thoughts, those beliefs, they're simply thoughts. And just as easily as they arise, they can change. Because after all, haven't you experienced, even just once, that feeling of having something new or different arise inside of you? Something fresh, something real. It's as if there was always a part of you just waiting to emerge, just waiting to express the truth of who you really are. You see, it's quite natural, really, when you focus on someone else. We might start to compare, and compare, and compare some more. Almost like watching a mirror, but the reflection is theirs, not yours. And sometimes that mirror can seem so shiny, so perfect, that it's hard to even see the reflection of your own unique self. Yet what if just for a moment, you allowed yourself to notice the truth in a new way? What if instead of focusing on how they shine, you could notice how your light shines too? Imagine just for a moment, the person you see as so perfect is actually just a reflection of your own potential, a symbol, a reminder of all that you can become, not a comparison that diminishes you. Isn't it curious how your mind works like that? It takes something, an image, a thought, and it reinterprets it in a way we don't always notice. And yet, once you begin to notice it, you start to realize perhaps that perfection you see outside. It's simply your mind pointing to something inside of you that wants to emerge, that wants to grow. And as you think about this, you might wonder, what is it really that I believe about myself? Because, you see, the beliefs we hold, sometimes about ourselves, sometimes about others, they're just that, beliefs. And beliefs, just like habits, can change, can't they? They shift, they evolve. They can expand to reveal new possibilities, new potentials, new perspectives. And what if, just as effortlessly as the clouds drift across the sky, you could let go of that belief that says you're not enough. Let it float away, let it dissolve, like mist, until it's no longer there at all. And in its place, imagine, if you will, a belief so simple, so true, that says, I am enough. I am enough just as I am, with all my strengths, with all my challenges, with all my uniqueness. What would it be like to truly know, deep inside, that your journey is your own? That there's no one that you need to compete with. No need to compare. Because when you look at others, whether you think they're better or perfect, you're simply seeing what you are capable of, reflected in them. And isn't it fascinating how, in that reflection, you can begin to realize your own incredible potential? You see, every step you've taken, every decision, every challenge, and every victory, it's brought you here, to this very moment, where you can acknowledge the truth. You're worthy of every success, every joy, every moment of peace. And as you acknowledge that worthiness, you can begin to accept fully and completely. There's no need for comparison, no need for judgment. And when you look at someone you perceive as perfect, you can simply smile, because you realize they're no different than you. They're simply walking their own path, just as you are walking yours. And in that moment, perhaps there's a quiet understanding between you and them, an understanding that just like them, you're constantly growing, constantly evolving, and becoming the most complete version of yourself. So, as you take a deep breath now, you might find your perspective begins to shift. With each breath, you feel lighter, freer, more confident in your own journey. Your mind begins to recognize with ease that your value doesn't depend on anyone else. It's inherent, just as the sun rises every morning. without needing anyone's approval. And now, with a sense of peace and calm, as you feel the weight of self-doubt dissolve, you might wonder, what would it feel like to truly believe in myself? And as that question lingers in your mind, you might already begin to notice the answer beginning to emerge. And as you hold the answer soft and clear, you can allow it to gently, naturally become your truth.